Welcome to Drinking with Authors. I'm your host, Erica Lance. My co-host today is the amazing J.M. Paquette, and our guest today is the wonderful Carolyn Clarke. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so great to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what we're drinking. So I found this, I think I had it on the show one other time, but it's from my friends here in North Carolina, Flat Rock Cider Company, but it's called Moy Guapa, I think, but it's guava passion fruit hard cider, and it's kind of amazing. And it says inspired by the beauty and blooms of the summer season. It's very fancy.
I love that. So what's the drink in it?
Yeah, so it's a cider, but it's really good, and it's not too sweet. So anyway, in a gigantic can of it, which is the size of my head, it's fine. It's good. Okay, what are you drinking, Jen, for the boring person coming? Yep. Okay.
I have a fancy mug, but I'm just drinking tea. But I am drinking. It's called Ooey Gooey, like biscuits tea from one of the 8 million tea subscriptions. Ooey. I don't know. It's ooey gooey biscuits. It's a black tea. It's okay. I expected more ooey gooiness, and it's a little not that.
It's because it's tea.
We'll see if it gets better as we move forward.
Okay. I'm not gonna. If you put a little, whiskey in that, it would, but we know you won't. So anyway, moving on. Carolyn, what are you drinking?
Well, sadly, or if it's a good thing, I had to stop drinking wine because of these intense headaches. So now I'm into gin. And my daughter just made this for me. She's 22, so she's able to do that. So it's gin and soda water, and she actually put some strawberries in it. So it's got this little strawberry flow to it.
I love that. And I'm a big fan of gin. So
I'm getting into it. I find that I no headaches anymore if I stick to gin. I find it clean and crisp.
I like it. I like that you found a solution and didn't do what like our allergic to alcohol friend here did and is drinking ooey gooey tea. So whatever.
Yeah, that was just a heartbreaker when I found out I needed to stop for a bit with the wine.
Yes. Okay. So for those that may not know you, what do you write?
Well, I just had my debut novel, and we're coming up to a year anniversary, July 1st, and that was called "And Then There's Margaret," and it's my first fiction book. And it's sort of a slice of life family dramedy.
Very cool. And sorry, there's magical music happening behind me. It's fine. I changed the Ring doorbell to do this, and now all the time I'm like, ooh, it's so fancy. But anyway, okay. So what made you decide to write a novel?
I was in the ESL world for many years, teaching English and writing nonfiction resources, right?
I feel you.
Teachers, teachers and students. I was teaching English for 17 years. I had and still have an ESL blog, heavily in the ESL world. I wrote with Cambridge University. I did some teacher resources there. So I just remember teaching the lower levels, and it was just one day I came in and I was writing on the board. We were doing colors or clothing again. I said, I can't do this. Like as far as just, I needed some other outlets. So it was about 7 years ago that all happened. That I decided, you know what, I've had my time here. I'm still in where I am now. I'm reporting, but now I've jumped on into the fictional world. And I'm so glad I did. So it's the creative outlet I was looking for.
Very cool. So this is that was your debut. What are you working on right now?
It is a follow-up to this one, actually. It's almost the same world. Same characters are coming back. And the main character, and then Margaret, it will be in this as well. So it's 5 years later, and it was the publisher that suggested let's keep going and riding this wave, because the debut novel has been doing very well. yeah, we've been able to gain a bit of an audience as well. So they're like, let's keep going. So after writing the book for 6 years, I am almost done this one. And I just started in February. So it goes to show, if I can put my heart and soul into it, and if family members can understand that I'm busy, then I can do great things.
No, that's awesome. And you get faster. You do get faster when you start writing. Mm-hmm. So what made you choose this story?
Interestingly enough, this story is based on a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law's turbulent, complex relationship. And I don't have a mother. I never got to meet my mother-in-law. So I was at a book club 6 years ago, and listening to some of the stories and conversations, the sins and the confessions and all the crazy stories about their mother-in-laws. There were about 4 of my friends there and 2 other that were neighbors. And I was laughing. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this would make such a funny book. And I'd already started thinking, but I had started my blog, HenLit Central. So that came into my head because that HenLit Central is sort of geared for the chick lit fans. The lover of chick lit that are no longer, interested in those stories of, terrible bosses and wandering lovers. And that probably made me more interested in seeing what HenLit, so chick lit gone to hen. I thought, with an older protagonist that's over 40, Allison is 45 in the book. So that's kind of where I started and wanted to do. I wanted to, Alice and the main character is like 5 of my friends rolled up in one. And I just thought, let's go for it.
Yeah, no, that's a ton of fun,
Like, I guess, right? A second act, third act. I don't know. Maybe it's my 4th act. I'm not sure.
Okay, so you're working on book 2. Then what are you? Okay, so now that you've done this, do you have a writing goal in mind? Do you have an idea of where you want to go with your writing career?
I love to pump out a book a year. That would be the goal. We're going to see, this one's coming out May 2024 because you've got to go through all of the natural stages of editing and beta readers and the cover. And I guess it gives the publisher time to get it up on certain sites. But if I can keep going, they say don't stop writing, right? They say if you really want to write, and hey, putting out 2 books a year, I'd love to do that. I don't have the energy as I did when I was younger, and I am working full time. So it's hard to do that. But I would be happy and pleased if I could do 1 book a year, depending on how receptive the readers are for this book coming out.
So you went with a hybrid publisher, correct?
No, a small press.
A small press. Okay. And so how did you find the small press?
So I had originally, it's really funny because I had the book ready like a week before the zombies came and COVID, right? Remember that day, everything was shutting down and it just felt so surreal. So I had taken that week off. It was March break for teachers and myself. Back then I was a teacher. So I had taken March break off and I thought, this is the week I'm going to send it out. I was so excited. It was all done. And then boom, everything shut down. And I thought, this world doesn't even feel like in my storybook world right anymore. It just, we went into it, I think it was 4 weeks later that everybody was in lockdown. And then I had the first chapter where she was at a gym. And I'm thinking, oh my God, are we ever going to get back to that kind of life? And her father-in-law passes away in the first chapter, the main character's father-in-law. So I had her going to the hospital. I'm thinking, they wouldn't even let us in hospitals now. And I didn't foresee that life was going to get. So I stopped and I had my list of the big 5, right? Not the big 5, but on the big publishers list. So I did send it out eventually. I changed it, modified it. I put masks in it. And then I sent it out to some publishers, like probably I had a list of about 25, some of the publishers near my I'm in Canada, so we do not have I want to say commercialized agents, commercialized fiction agents that were representative. So I sent them all out to the U.S. Agencies, and I did get back some really great constructive feedback. Keep going. Had a lot of R&Rs, revise and resubmit. And then I found Black Rose Writing, which was one that wasn't looking for an agent. And I think at this point, it was so long after writing it, I really just wanted to get it out and out of my way, because I was taking an online. This was when online was like the thing. I took an online creative course, and I started writing with my new, with our new instructor. And she said, "Oh, what have you guys been writing?" So I did show her something. She goes, "Send it out now. You've got to send this out." So I did. But I was not really that much into it. I was more focused on the next book, which is not what I'm doing now, but it's still an idea. And then, then it was Black Rose Writing. I think I heard 2 weeks later after I submitted. And then it was just like, you know what? I'm going to just go with it. And they were quite nice. I did my due diligence of researching everything and finding out, like, beware of Black Rose. But you know what? If you cut through it all, they're amazing. A great small press publisher in Texas, actually. So that's how it all happened. So I'm going to go for it.
Very cool.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool. Okay, we are actually going to take a break, and we will be right back with Drinking with Authors. Hey, listeners, you know me, Erica Lance. You're just listening to me in the podcast that you have. But guess what? I'm doing something new.
Yeah, she's joining me, Mark Muncy, the author of the Erie, Florida book series in Erie, Appalachia, and we are hosting a new podcast called Erie Travels.
Woo-woo! Erie Travels, which covers things like ghosts, cryptids, weird stuff, UFOs, men in black, all kinds of fun things that people talk about, and I'm sure you've discussed with friends.
Yep, and you can listen to us on your favorite podcast platform of choice, or find us at erietravels.com and join in the fun and all the spooky goodness.
And of course, Mark, what do we always say?
We'll see you on the other side.
You can have as many drinks as you like. That's the best part of this show.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
That is not the goal. The goal is to find out about her, but secondarily, goal is to drink a lot of
drink.
Drink all that thing. I'm just curious. Do you drink and then write? Does that happen now that you've shifted from wine to gin?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
I love the look
Saturday
you have, because
night.
you have this look like you're being naughty about it, but you're not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
That's what Saturday nights are for, right? Just, chilling out, putting, usually my husband's busy watching the USC or some other sci-fi show. And then you know what? I'm here. I've got my music on. Why not? Yeah. And it's great for the creative juices, right? Getting it flowing.
Oh,
Definitely.
I think so. I still have not completely found that point between, this is great for creative juices, and I have drunk way too much and I'm just writing garbage.
Yeah.
on
And
paper.
when you go back to it, I've done that. It was like, where was my head? But actually I can pull some stuff from this.
Yeah. It's
So
always good.
my protagonist loves wine. So, right. So I think I could just drink with her.
Totally.
Right.
That makes sense. And you're also, because you miss wine, right? So she's enjoying it for you.
Yes. It was a total life changer for me. But you know what? I do plan to see if I can try it again. It's just, I'm not so sure if it was the tannins or what's the other thing that wine has? Sulfites.
That's right.
And there's one other histamines. And I didn't know that. And that's why I went to gin, because gin doesn't have, it's low in histamines. So
I should try some.
Look, we just got technical about our drinking
I know.
stuff.
Yes.
It's very scientific. I love it.
If you can take a allergy pill, maybe before you have wine, if you get headaches. I haven't tried that route, but all depends.
No, I don't know if I'd want to. I feel like that's very, you're going into the danger zone.
Right.
Danger zone.
So,
that was for Val. But I feel like you'd be going into the danger zone if you were taking things, because I do have a friend that has a fantastic story about Benadryl, not non-drowsy, but regular Benadryl, and drinking, and it was not a pleasant experience in the end.
Yeah. No.
So
Benadryl puts me right to sleep. So then I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to do any of the fun things anyway. So never mind.
Right. Yeah.
It was similar for her, but the sleeping was also being sick, and it was in a club bathroom floor. So none of that was good. None of it was
good. That's
choices.
Yes. So, what was it like when you got your first? I love talking to people who have one book out, because there's a whole newness, awesomeness that comes with getting your book. You know, not that it doesn't happen when you get your books, but after you've done a certain number of, it's not the same as the first time you got your book in your hand.
Oh, yes. Yes. It was.
She's like, I'm gonna grab my book.
No, I'm just joking. No, I remember I cried, right? Opening up the book and the books and holding it for the first time.
So what was the review? Do you read your reviews?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I certainly do. And that is something I think all authors should be doing. And, you know, now that I can say I'm a published author, so for aspiring authors, I would say read your reviews, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And believe me, I've had ugly. But overall, I know that this book, and then there's Margaret, I think we're almost at 3,000 ratings and reviews. Yep.
That's awesome.
So my goal was to have 1,000 by July 21st for the first year birthday. So I go in now and I look at the 4 to 5 stars, but I do go in often. I have someone checking out. Is actually one of my beta readers that looks at some of the 1 and 2 stars, but it's been constructive criticism. Now there's been a lot of trolls coming my way. We did book bubs. We did, my book was on Prime Reading, and it was #1 in humor and satire for almost 4 weeks. So I was getting a lot of thrifters. I don't know, just angry authors or people that weren't even reading the book. You could tell. And I'm thinking there's a pattern here. They weren't verified purchasers, right? So I was seeing the pattern saying, you know, this book needs an editor, or I had to put it, like, you could tell that they didn't read it. But then those that did read it, most of the bad reviews were people triggered by Margaret. So Margaret's behavior. Yeah. And I found that interesting. So it will only help me now with this book because I've toned down her behavior, but I wanted to write that, right? I didn't have a mother-in-law, but it happens. There's a huge community of people out there who have terrible negative relationships with their mother-in-laws. And if you just, Google it, there's millions of pages that come up on it and online forums. So I didn't want to cut that out. I didn't want to make her too much of a caricature, but I also wanted to make this story real. This is a real complex relationship. So I think for the negative reviews that this book has received, it has been more about the character and the, some people didn't like that her husband jumped in enough. So I'm thinking, okay, I might have done my job because I'm pissing people off.
Well, I think you did, because here's the thing, we're now approaching like our 400th show, or I can actually look to see what number show you will be through this, because you're going to be show 401. So,
yay!
Which is exciting. But having spoken to so many authors and stuff, your goal is to have an impact with your readers. And sometimes that impact will be fantastic. And sometimes you're just going to piss them the fuck off.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what's going to be, because you have so many millions of people in the world. You're never going to please every human with your book. If it was bland enough to do that, they wouldn't be interested in reading it anyway. So I think that when you're looking at negative or toning down, I say, don't tone it down at all. I mean, the things as an author that you need to look at, to me, with reviews is if you meant to create a certain effect and you never see that effect in your reviews, maybe go talk to a developmental editor, because you miss the mark, obviously. If nobody comments on whatever that aspect, you're like, I want them to see this.
Right.
But
sure.
The only stuff you should actually pay attention to is if they're like, hey, this author keeps switching tenses, or hey, the grammar in this book is fucking terrible. Like, those are the things, because some authors have a very hard time reading their reviews, but not everybody's going to like your damn book.
Right. And that's sort of what I said to myself. And I'm doing my job. If I'm creating and stirring up emotions in someone, then wow.
That connection.
That connection. And then there's so many people that saw the humor in it, because, I'm hoping you asked me a question of dramedy. If you ask me that, what dramedy is, I'll tell you.
Tell us about it.
We would, Jen, ask the question. Jen.
Tell us your thoughts on dramedy and how it affects writing.
Yes. Let me tell you. So dramedy is one of my most favorite genres when watching movies or series. Have you ever seen Fleabag?
I love Fleabag.
Right? Yeah, or Catastrophe. Those are the ones I love. Olive Kitteridge. I don't know if you ever saw, with Frances McDermott. She was right. And then as far as books goes, we have one of my favorite was Eleanor Elephant is Completely Fine. Do you remember her with Gail Honeyman?
Yeah.
So that was sort of dramedy. So dramedy is, a mix of drama and comedy. And it just, there weren't really a lot of books written in dramedy. And that's where I'm thinking, I'm kind of at it to play the game. Like, I was really curious about writing HenLit, first of all, and starting HenLit, the website. And then I was also curious about, these, I think they were talking about putting the category dramedy in the Oscars, because there were so many movies in right? So
crosses that line.
Yeah. And so then I remember Googling about dramedy before this all happened. And then I just saw some of the bestsellers, like Where'd You Go, Bernadette? That was another drama. Or A Man Called Otto with Ov is the one, the Norwegian one, and then Otto with Tom Hanks. And so that was what I really wanted to accomplish in this book too, was to put a form of some kind of dramedy where it's, that fear and misery mixed with joy and humor. And I forget the question, but that was part of what I wanted to write in that genre, which is just starting to make a mark. It's like, what's the other one?
Rom-com.
Rom-com. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then you add the later in life element to that. Because, you've got that like 20-year-old, it's funny, but it's also drama. Like that's kind of a thing. But the later in life, they're usually more serious. They kind of go one way or the other. They're all funny or they're all serious. So that's interesting that you're bringing it into a new sort of category of characters.
Yeah, it's not easy to pull off, because writing humor is not easy at all. Because. And I think because I read a lot of books when I was younger, I started with Judy Blume. She was my favorite. And I always remember, do you remember Judy Blume's book?
Oh, yeah, no, she was at the ALA conference we went to this year.
Oh, yeah. And her movie just came out. So I think that's where I started as a young one. I was into Judy Blume and those characters that were funny, but also kind of like a slice of life. And I think using an older character, I mean, let's face it, HenLit, like there's millions of older women readers, right? We're the market. We're the ones with time. We're the ones with money buying these books. So, either you go on the serious or you go on the romance or pure comedy. I really want to take a crack at the dramedy genre.
So you said you had based it on a group of your friends. How did they feel about being represented in the book in this way?
Oh, there's no way they would even tell. And I remember talking to them about that. And I have like little bits and pieces of, yeah, you can use that one. There's a part in the book where Margaret's taking chapstick and at anything she finds in the coat pocket, she's cleaning out and she takes it. And that was a real live story from one of my friends. And she's like, yeah, go for it. Just no one would know. But yeah, there's nothing too defined as far as as far as one character goes. But I think, as I said, it's just all rolled up in one. That's Allie.
That's very nice of you to ask your friends if they could be represented as characters in the book before you represent them in the book. That's very cool of you to do.
Yeah.
Jen.
All right, so I put Erica in a book, okay, so I put Erica in a book, but it was a character that she had played in, because my story is based on Dungeons and Dragons, a game we used to play. So it was you, just
that's so funny.
Not you.
No, it was, and it wasn't. No, it was flattering, but it was very funny because I was reading it and I went, wait a minute. I literally called her and I'm like, wait a minute. Is this me? Is this me? And
that's funny.
Yeah, it was me. It was me. At least you asked, I guess. That's the better part. Right?
I asked after the fact. It was fine.
No, I asked you if it was me, and you were like, "Yes, the book was already done." What? It was
already done, and then I was like, "Yeah, that was you. That's fine.
That was you.
That was you. Yay! Yay for being you." So, what has surprised you about going down this fiction route? Like, what? Because we all have ideas, like we're going to write a book, and we know what we think that means, and then you get to the other side of that, and it is not the same journey you began on at all.
Right.
And your first one took you 7 years.
6 years, 6 years, 7 years to just like wait and going back and forth with the publisher. I think, you both are writers as well, and your audience, I'm sure half of them are authors, but the writing, I guess, is the easy part, right? It's the marketing and the energy it takes to stay active. I think now with even with the big 5 publishers, they're expecting you to have some sort of social media presence, right? With Twitter,
you have to, because they're not going to do it for you. They might not be expecting you to do it, but if you want to sell your book, you're going to have to do it.
Right. Yeah. And there's Twitter, and I had my back up against Instagram. I'm like, no, I don't want to make pretty pictures and send them. I just don't. I mean, I was just familiar with Twitter because that was the first platform I used. And then, they're saying you have to have an author website or author Facebook. So I think, I didn't know how much work and time and energy, and I'm still devoted to my book baby, because it's still, I think there's like 10 or 11 ratings and reviews every night I'm getting, right. So it was interesting because the publisher said we have a new agreement now. I'm actually 50-50 with them on this book, so that's been fantastic too. So.
Yeah. Very cool. That's good, because not a lot of people get that kind of rating too at all.
Yeah. So I'm very, very fortunate, very lucky, and very grateful.
Very, very cool. So what about did you you want to do one book a year? Do you want to stay in the dramedy? Are there any other genres you debate crossing into, or?
I think I would probably stick with dramedy, because I think, because I have it already. And if you Google dramedy novel, my book's the first one that comes up, like on Amazon. Yeah, and dramedy dramedy. It's one of the first books that come up. So I'm thinking, if I want to make a career out of it, it would be wise to stick with what I've done so far. Mm-hmm. If I had all the time in the world and really thought about it, I'd love to do a thriller, right? But I mean, I just don't think my mind works that way, because I wouldn't even be able to figure it out and be able to put the pieces together.
Well, a thriller, honestly, you work backwards as somebody who writes thrillers.
Yes.
is you have to work the novel backwards from where you want it to end.
Right.
And then where you want it to begin, and then plant every little seed along the way. And just, you have to be careful to not make it too obscure that, no reader on the planet has any idea what the hell you've just done.
Right, what you've done.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hats off to you for sure. I just don't, my brain just doesn't work that way. I think I'm such I love human behavior. So I think that's kind of where I like the things that go in my head. When I, not judging, just observing. I'm always observing. So I think I'd rather stick just sort of to that genre, that keeping the humor in it too.
Very cool. So then what's coming up after this one? Do you already know where you're going?
With the next one, the Zelda. So this one was, and then there's Margaret, and now there's Zelda.
But after Zelda, so where are you going?
Yeah. I'm going to go back to the one I started with my creative writing course, and it's going to be like War of the Roses meets. Do you know that movie? Do you remember?
I love that movie.
Yeah, meets
Douglas
Breakup with Jennifer Aniston. So it's kind of like a couple that, they're trying to go through a little bit of a nasty separation at the same time. They don't want to leave their house. So they've put so much work and time and energy in it. So there's going to be a bit of an arc happening there, but just, that human relationships and fun, but serious.
That scene in the breakup about the lemons has just become a thing.
Oh, see?
Baby wants lemons, baby gets lemons, but baby wanted 12 lemons.
I know. It's just like these simple things I find so funny. Like relatable. You know what? That's one of the words I like for as far as what I like to write is something relatable. Mm-hmm. If anyone can relate to it, maybe.
Well, clearly the 3,000 reviews, people are relating. That's amazing.
That's very cool. Jen, I'm going to let you get a final question before we go to literary briefs.
Oh, all right. In your, see, I have a bunch of literary briefs questions, but
you are a scholar. And
I know. I want to.
I hosted hundreds of shows. Get your shit together.
I don't have my shit.
You have one job. I need you to do it.
One job to do it. All right. So you taught English. I'm going to my roots. I also teach English.
Right.
All right. So you taught English for 17 years, right? Do you find that how does that influence you as you're writing? Like, does your background as an English teacher come up? Do you find yourself like, oh, I have a hyphen? Do you stop and go and look it up if it has a hyphen, or you're like, no, the editor can deal with that?
No, you know what? And it's, I sometimes I hate the way I write because I can't move on unless the sentence is done. Okay. I think, but just having sort of the grammar piece to that, having all that background in grammar. And I think one of the things that is so hard to write, and you would know, dialogue is maybe I actually teaching English and listening and forming conversations with them. I did a lot of conversational English. So it's getting dialogue, because we used to teach them natural English. So I think that helped me with with writing some of the dialogue pieces. But yeah, I think that's what helped me. And, meeting all these women across the world and men, but it's women who, brought forward to me the whole mother-in-law situation. I think that helped me gain perspective on this as a universal topic, right? So I would say teaching English has been great. And it's kind of kept me on point as far as I wasn't really a plotter for this one. I was more of a pantster. Is it pantster or pantster?
Pantser.
Yeah, I was more of a pantser for this one, but now plotting. But then I'm thinking, wow, I used to teach this, like learning, like writing. Why can't I do this? So, but I think that I'm going back to that.
Very cool.
Outlining.
Outline. I write an outline and then I totally ignore it. So
Yeah, sure.
I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Let the characters take you.
It's like the student who writes a paper and then
head.
does an outline at the afterward. I'm like, well, at least you did it. It's fine.
Yeah, I know.
That's what you could do, is just go back and change your outline, Jen, to match the story.
To match the story, and then it's fine.
The story. There you go.
Perfect. Outline done.
Yeah.
See, I don't do outlines for that reason. Like I have a new nifty tool that I'm using, but I'm not doing outlines. I'm just doing plot points through the 3 different areas of the book, like the 3 acts, just plot points, like things I want to cover in each one, but it's not like,
detailed. See, I can't imagine writing a thriller where you have to have so many elements. I would forget them.
Yeah, there's so many, like there's the act 1. I tried that for the Zelda one, act 1, act 2, act 3, and then you've got to have the acts within the acts, and it was
I didn't go down the acts within the acts, but there's definitely because I'm working on 2 separate thriller horror books, right? Because there's aspects in each, and it definitely helps me to go, because I know what I wanted to have happen, but it's like, okay, what point in time is that revealed? What point in time is that like, do I start planning the scene? And especially when I write in first person, so when do the characters start realizing what is actually happening? Because what's happening, but it's also, when do they start realizing what's happening? And I think that if you don't, like, this has helped me a lot to go, okay, because as much as maybe I want to reveal it now, I'm going to wait and I'm going to drop this other thing in there and then reveal this other thing at the end.
Right.
It's a lot like humor, because the other genre I read is humorous erotica, and you have to have the jokes fall correctly. Otherwise, like I was on a podcast the other day, and I was talking about, like, I feel like humor and horror / thriller stuff is grossly underestimated with how much work it takes to have the correct reaction from the audience. And I say that not like gore. You can do gore pretty well, where you gross out an audience, like you can do that. And you can do drama where you pull at heartstrings, you just kill people or have them lose somebody or whatever and describe the grief they're experiencing. But it's hard to get a joke to land. And that's actually one of the
comic relief, right?
Yeah. I stopped watching the Oscars a bazillion years ago because I realized that there were these great humorous movies and even horror movies that got absolutely no acknowledgement, but they were doing phenomenal at the box office, and the actor alone had you in that world. But, I love Tom Hanks, but I just go, he was great in these movies, but at the same time, you look at like Jim Carrey in The Mask. That was a lot of work being that character and doing that. And, that's just one example. Or, Robin Williams and a lot. It's to be those things. And I think people go, oh, that's easy. You're running around doing this thing. No.
Yeah. And having that comic relief somehow, whether it's a joke or a character that comes in as that comic relief. And I think we're seeing more of that in some of the series. I think the dramedy series too, or even the serious drama series, is having that one character that provides that relief, because that's life, right? We're not going around too serious, and we have to have some lightness, something to pin that, or to poke a hole through that balloon, that stress balloon.
I like it. Okay. We're going to roll into our literary briefs portion of this. It's rapid fire questions. Are you ready, Carolyn, or do you want to take another drink?
Okay.
You can take another drink as we load up for the literary briefs. We're all taking drinks. Okay. First question. What is your favorite book of all time?
Favorite book of all time. I'm going to just say Olive Kitteridge. I don't know if you know Elizabeth Strout, because I watched the movie, the series. It was a 6-episode series, and I loved Frances McDormand. So anything with her. And so I loved the book.
Awesome. What about your least favorite?
I'm going to say Shades of Grey or Grayish Shade. What was that one?
Oh,
It's only because it was
50
written.
Shades of
It was
Complete
written. In,
Garbage.
it was written in something person, and I didn't like it. It was present tense. That's what I remember about it. It was written in present tense. You know, it was sort of a guilty pleasure, but I was like, I really hate this book, but I was just doing it because everybody else was reading it.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't do that. I read a couple pages and I was like, this is
This is garbage. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it
and I
written
can't.
in third
Okay.
present tense.
Jen, you had all these literary briefs questions. Let's hear some.
All right. So first question, when you are reading, do you prefer paper book, Kindle, or audiobook?
Paper book.
And why?
The smell of paper books. I just love the smell of them, and it's mine, and I can write in and fold.
Okay, that was my next question. So you'll write in your books. You don't keep them like pristine and pure.
Oh, good, no. Oh gosh, no.
Okay. And then, what are you reading right now?
I'm not, because I don't have time. But I do have Lessons in Chemistry. I don't know if you've seen that book, Lessons in Chemistry.
Vaguely familiar.
Because I'm curious to why it's been doing so freaking well.
That's why.
And it was her debut book at 60. She's number one. I think she's got over, I'm not on Google right now, but I think she had over 60,000. So I'm more curious about why, but she's a very good writer. So that's sort of at my night table.
Very cool.
The inspiration.
Good. Erica, did you have one or?
Well, you had so many.
I can sprinkle them in. What was the last show that you binge watched?
The one with John Krasinski, Jack Ryan. It's only because my husband's watching it.
Do you read the books?
Actually really good. I don't. And what? There's a lot of money in these series. And I mean, it's the formula series, right? But he's so good. So yeah, we're on season 3. That's what we're doing.
They're nothing like the books in a way, because he's legitimately an analyst in the books. So
right. Yeah.
It's like the Bourne Supremacy or the Bourne series, the Jason Bourne series. It's not at all like the books, but you just enjoy it anyway.
I enjoy it because the writing is very good, and also there's money in it, and I love gory, and it's gory. I love gore.
My next question was best book to screen adaptation.
The Martian.
Okay, yeah. We love to rescue Matt Damon. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I thought that was great. And I loved the story behind it, where he was writing that book on his blog, and then it just people started following it, and then it was simple language. So yeah, I loved it. And that was dramedy. That was drama plus comedy.
When he's doing the math on all of the rations, I'm screwed.
Oh yeah. I'm screwed. Yeah. I thought he was so good in that.
Not gonna end well. What was the worst adaptation, in your opinion?
Just saw it. Where'd You Go, Bernadette? Because those are the books like lighthearted that I tend to gravitate to. So I think who was in it that I didn't care for? Blonde.
You don't have to call out the actresses. We didn't like it.
we didn't like it. Okay.
What is your favorite writing snack when you're writing? What do you like to eat?
Barbecue chips. Anyone that knows me, give me barbecue chips. I eat them all day.
Then you type on your keyboard?
Pardon?
The idea of barbecue chips on my fingers,
I
would be like, napkin. It's on one. Okay, so you have to
and I've got my wipes.
And you have to, okay. I'm just thinking it was like, if I was eating, okay.
No, and
I'm eat cookies and crap all the time.
I eat at my desk
keyboard
all the time.
Is a mess. You should see
I'm
my
excited about what's the strategy on eating barbecue chips while you're in the middle of writing?
So my son has a strategy wherein he uses chopsticks or a fork to eat chips while he's gaming in his computer, because he can eat them and it not get on his hands. So he doesn't have to bother wiping or cleaning. He just grabs them like this. He gets the tweezers. Ones that have the rubber band intentionally. So he's like,
I love that. That's a great idea. They
see,
should actually just invent something and call it like
Right,
a chip eater. Like, you know what else? Millions.
for the busy person on the computer, you can.
Yeah.
Evie uses toothpicks. My daughter will use toothpicks on stuff, but that doesn't work on chips. It works on
No,
cheese
but I like
puffs.
you can use chopsticks or tweezers. Good.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Chopsticks are fork. Actually, he uses a fork, and it's weird.
Yeah, 'cause it
So
can get in there.
my question is, who would play the lead character if your book was optioned to a movie?
I was given this before, and I want to go with. Oh my goodness, I can't remember. Oh.
She wants to go with the djinn that's attacking any memory she has of what she previously said.
Oh my God, this is the problem with hormones. Toni Collette. That's who I was.
Oh my God, I love Toni Collette.
Right? Yeah,
She's good.
Mm-hmm. I think she would be good. She's got the perfect snark face and snarkiness.
She is such a brilliant actor too. Like I feel like she's not nearly acknowledged enough for her versatility.
Yeah,
definitely. So what's your character's theme song?
The David Bowie one, because I do listen to that, and I'm thinking I could see her Heroes.
Cool.
Yeah,
it's a good song.
Yeah.
Do you listen to a lot of music when you write?
Yes, I do. And I listen to a lot of 70s and 80s. I do.
Music with words?
Songs? Yeah, with words.
Yeah, no, I can do it. Yeah, no. Do I sing?
Do you sing along while you're?
No, because I don't know the words. Or I'm but I know some of the words. But yeah, sometimes it depends. I like to listen to music when I'm cleaning, and then I'll sometimes sing. Yeah, that's so much fun. It's changed my game with cleaning. I just put my buds in and just clean. It's amazing what you can do.
Very cool. Do you have an audiobook for your book?
I do.
Did you listen to it?
I did. God forbid if she's listening, but I didn't pick the narrator. She was good. It was just her first book. So yeah. We'll go to the next question. She was good, but I think she could have been better, right? A little bit more intonation and character change with voice.
Yeah. You're such a pleasant person the way you're saying stuff. I would be like, she fucking sucked. I'm not a fan of my audiobook.
Well, I know.
You cannot be a fan of your audiobook, especially if you don't get to choose the narrator.
Yeah. Well, I'll have control now. So that's going to change. And it was her first one, and it's
a learning
supporting curve. And let's support her first narrating job. Yeah, that's good.
Very
How's
cool.
that?
I like that.
Jen, I'm going to do the final one, so you get one more. Don't screw this up. She's going to screw it up. It's fine.
I want to think of a very good one, and I feel this is going to be your final one, so I don't want to steal it. Is your final one a food-related one?
No.
Okay. What's your favorite odd food pairing?
Oh my goodness. I didn't know that these were kind of okay. Peanut butter and lettuce.
What?
Yes,
like a sandwich?
With iceberg lettuce. Fry. It's the crunch. Yeah.
Oh, I can see the crunch because iceberg lettuce doesn't have a lot of flavor to it. Like the lettuce itself is not very flavorful.
That good piece, that crispy piece.
Yeah, not the tip, but the base, right?
The base, yes.
All right, I could see that.
Yeah, not the tip, Jen. The base.
Not the base. You knew what I meant.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
The white part. The white
part. Yes.
Cue porn music. Just kidding.
Yes. The thicker part.
Oh, you're not helping this situation at all. Keep going. I won't even ask a question. I'll just let you define the weird food combination making quotation marks.
Yeah,
right
I like it. We didn't even get into celery. I'm just saying. All right.
But you know what? It's like putting peanut butter on celery.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's the same thing. Yeah. You could do lettuce wraps with peanut butter. You could probably omit the
Roll it up.
carbs. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Jen will never do that, but I appreciate that you said that.
I might. I don't know. I like peanut butter in all things on a spoon.
You're going to put peanut butter on lettuce? I want you to text me when you do that.
I will send you a picture.
And let me know.
Yes.
But make sure it's fresh. If it's soggy lettuce, do not blame me.
No,
it's got to be fresh and crunchy. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't, otherwise I don't see that happening. Okay. So the final question is a riveting one that I know you've been just dying to be asked this question. Are you ready?
Okay.
If you could have lunch with any author, dead or alive, but they'd be alive when you are having lunch with them, who would it be?
Mary Keyes. I don't know if you know her. Do you know Mary Keyes? I love Mary Keyes. So she's an Irish author, and she was the one who writes books this thick. I have one right here. It's fun stuff.
Oh, okay. I've seen. Yeah.
She's hilarious. I did actually see her in Toronto last year, actually, and she was there for the Toronto Film or Book Festival. And she's so damn cute. And her writing, I got to interview her, but just in a written interview on HenLit on my website. But I was hoping she would take the book and read it and shout it out to all her fans. But I think she's inspired me all the way for the last 12 of her books.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
okay.
She's a very real person. I like her.
I like them when they're real.
Yeah.
Well, I also like them when they're imaginary because they behave better. So with that said, shameless self-promotion time, Carolyn, where can people find you and your books?
Amazon, you can order from most bookstores because I'm on Ingram, and then I hang out mostly on Twitter. I'm a little bit there on Instagram, and then Facebook, Carolyn Clarke author. Or if you just type in and then there's Margaret, you'll see some ways to get in touch. And then HenLit Central. HenLit Central was a blog that I started 6 years ago, and it's just books and literature for women over 40. You can be under 40, but it's more for that fun aging chicklet lover, and just lighthearted stuff. And I'm usually there posting and doing author interviews too.
Very, very cool. Very cool. Well, Carolyn, it has been amazing to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Of course. This has been Drinking with Authors. I had to remember that. Just kidding. This is gone. I have been your host, Erica Lance. My co-host today has been the always amazing J.M. Paquette. Our guest has been Carolyn Clarke. And don't forget to like, subscribe, review. You're listening to us right now, so just hit that button. And we will catch you guys next time.